And it is Thursday, March 24th at 6 p.m., and we are live here on KZZH. And this is
the Redwoods Community Report. I'm Izzy.
And I'm Nate.
Thank you for listening.
As part of the Redwoods Listening Post, and with help from local nonprofits Access Humboldt and Internews, this is a new, locally focused news magazine radio program.
The intent is to showcase local issues through a collection of articles, opinions, and stories created by local community citizens, journalists, and media partners. We hope to create a radio program that will highlight our diverse community of voices and bring back the on-air community dialogue.
That's right, Izzy. We want to bring back the on-air community dialogue. This is a live local program for Eureka, California. And we need your help. We want your help. We don't want to do all of this ourselves. We want you to join us. You can do that by emailing us, redwoodsreport@gmail.com. That's Redwoods with an S, redwoodsreport@gmail.com. We can help you out producing a program, producing a 3-minute segment. If you have somebody that you want to interview, some news that needs to be made aware of in our community, come on our show and let our community know. redwoodsreport@gmail.com.
Help us help you. On this 8th live episode, we will be joined by Humboldt County Office of Education Program College Connect Program Coordinator Tim Ritter to discuss educational opportunities for local youth. Next, the City of Eureka's Development Services Principal Planner Cristin Kenyon joins us to discuss the Gulches and Greenways of our community.
That's right. We got some good stuff ahead on this program. But first, let's look into a little bit of weather. Weather's been crazy as usual. Sunny, foggy, cloudy, misty. Sunny, foggy, cloudy, misty. Tonight it's going to be foggy. Tomorrow, Friday, it's going to be cloudy. And it's getting a little warmer. It's going to be about 60 degrees. And then on Saturday, still cloudy, but a little warmer at 62 degrees. And then on Sunday, we have a 40% chance of rain. You know we need that rain. And let's see. Oh, the community calendar. Yes, we got some things going on this weekend. On Saturday, March 26th, there will be an adult skate night. All right, adult skate night from 6:30 to 9:30 in the Fireman's Pavilion at Roner Park, 5 Park Street in Fortuna. I've skated there. It's kind of a small place, but it's still cool. You can still get your groove on. Let's see. This is an 18 and up event. Alcohol and drug-free event. IDs will be checked at the door. Admission includes skate rental. See the venue website for current COVID protocols at friendlyfortuna.com. Then on Sunday, March 27th, there will be a home away from home distribution from 4 to 5 p.m. at the D Street Neighborhood Center, 1301 D Street in Arcata. College students from Cal Poly Humboldt, College of the Redwoods, and Del Arte are invited to pick up free pre-packaged meals from Roman's Kitchen and a bag full of free household supplies. So yes, if you are a college student and need some help with foods and some household supplies, you can get them on Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. at the D Street Neighborhood Center. And then, of course, my co-host here, the lovely Isabella Vanderheiden, is our local community journalist, professional journalist, that is. Izzy, what have you been working on lately?
Thanks, Nate, for the flattery. So let's see. Today I worked on a story about current precipitation totals, and it looks like we're seeing Eureka's driest year ever recorded so far.
But
so
that's what you said last year.
Yeah, that's, they've been saying that every year. And then, soon we're going to hear that's the worst fire year ever recorded. And I hope that's not the case, but it's not shaping up to look so good. So conserve water, that kind of thing. Although I didn't include this in the story, but I did look. Ruth Lake is at 101% capacity. For those that don't know, that's where we get our water. So that's a really good thing. And actually, Ruth Lake usually maintains pretty good capacity throughout the season. So we're very lucky as far as, people who use that water go. But it's conserve water, just, to 100 feet of defensible space, all the good stuff to protect yourselves. And I'm also working on a story I believe I mentioned last week about the history of Article 34, which is a amendment to the California Constitution, which amended the Constitution to require a public vote for any low-income housing to be built with public funding. So I'm working on a deep dive into that, and I actually spent some time at the library last week looking at the microfilm machine and reading newspapers from 1949 to find out more. So yeah, that should be on Loco. I don't know. Hopefully by the end of the week. It's a big story to unravel.
Well, no rush. We want you to be thorough in your reporting. So I have patience anyways, because that's going to be a great story. That's some really good information.
Yeah, I talked to Senator McGuire about it. Ooh, scare.
What is that, Mike? All right.
Okay. All right. Figure it out. Yeah, but that's what I'm working on, Nate. I'll pass it back to you.
Right on. Thank you, Izzy. All right. We are now joined by Humboldt County Office of Education College Connection Program Coordinator, Jim Ritter. I think we might have said that wrong before, but we have Jim Ritter with us today. Thank you for joining us today, Jim.
Well, good evening, Nate and Izzy. Great to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. And so I guess we'll start off with this College Connect program. Tell us all about it.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. So College Connect is a Humboldt County Office of Ed program in our Education at Work division. And the purpose of all of those programs is to help high school students plan for their next steps after high school and their preferred future. And in many cases, that includes going on to higher education, going on to college or university. And College Connect is a partnership between CR and Cal Poly Humboldt, HCOE, and our local high schools. And what we do is we bring small groups of high school students with a teacher or counselor, chaperone, and they get to observe a full class at either of the schools and get a feel for what college is all about. And almost always it's followed after the class observation by a Q&A opportunity with the professor and some current college students. So if you're a high school student thinking about college and you want to know more about what it is, this is a great opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I would say so. I wish that was around when I was in high school. I mean, the difference between high school and college are two separate worlds, completely separate worlds. And yeah, having an opportunity to check out what the college life is like I can see is really beneficial. So why is this well, I just kind of explained that, but I'd like to hear from your words. Why is this program important to our local youth?
Well, I think it's important for a few reasons. The primary one is just that, giving high school students more information so they can make decisions about what's right for them and their preferred futures. Super motivating. Let's say you wanted to go to CR potentially and learn about welding or a career education class, or you wanted to go to either Cal Poly or CR and take more of an academic pathway. To actually see what those classes are like sort of makes it real, so you can set those goals. And then I think another real value of it is it's a great expansion of our partnership here in the Humboldt community between high schools, College of the Redwoods, and Cal Poly Humboldt.
That's so cool. And, of course, you kind of touched on this, but can you talk a little bit more about what experiences this program really offers for youth as well as educators who are participating in the program?
Absolutely. So I'll just give you an example from this week. A couple of days ago on Tuesday, we had two groups, a group of Two Feathers students, which is Native American youth from our community, actually from different high schools. And we had an opportunity to go to the Native American Studies 104, so Intro to Native American Studies class at Cal Poly Humboldt, 80-minute class. They got to sit through that whole class and then have a Q&A with Professor Caitlin Reed afterwards. So really remarkable in terms of if you're a Native American student here, seeing the NAS program at Cal Poly Humboldt and what that can offer you. And then later that day, a couple of hours later, I took a group of St. Bernard students who are studying economics as seniors in high school. And we went to a sustainable economics class at Cal Poly Humboldt, another 80-minute class, got to sit through the whole class and then do a Q&A with the professor, a few of the students in the class, and the department chair.
Oh, so the high school students also not only got to speak with the teacher of the class at the college campus, but also some of the college students in that class.
Absolutely. And that's really valuable, but because of course those college students can say, hey, just a couple of years ago, I was in your shoes and thinking about this transition from high school to college or university. And here are some of the things I learned, some of the things that I think would help you with your own transition. And also, probably most importantly, don't worry about it. It's going to be fun. You got to do the hard work, yes, but it's an awesome opportunity in life to move on to higher education.
And so do the high school kids get to choose the classes or class that they are going to see at the college campus? Let's say, a high school student who's interested in a history major, does he get to choose to go to a history class?
Indirectly, yes, Nate. We are in service at HCOE. We are in service to the districts, the school districts around our community. And one of the ways that we provide that service is through programs like this. So we're constantly doing outreach to the high schools, and those high schools, of course, are working directly with their students on a day-to-day basis. So we sort of say, hey, we can pretty much, because Humboldt and CR are so open and encouraging to these College Connect trips, we can pretty much arrange a trip in any major or any area of study that you're interested in. So check it out with your students. If you have a particular interest, let us know, and then we'll set up the field trip accordingly. So it's in service to a teacher or counselors or administrators or trio advisors or any of the different adults and educators who work at the high schools who might want to query their students and bring students to a class that's of interest to them.
Oh, that's so cool. And how many students have gone through the program so far or are currently in it? I guess, how do you arrange that? Like how many do you do a day or a week?
We're really rolling, of course, pre-COVID, but so many stories say that, right? And have done trips for most every high school around our community at one point or another, including our small charter schools, because we're usually taking groups of no more than 8 students, because you're thinking about a group of guests fitting into a college class. So that works well. And so now we're doing 2 or 3 a week usually. And we have strong hopes as we hopefully continue to open up more and move away from the pandemic, that next fall it will be really robust and we can do as many as there are interest to do. I think there's plenty of opportunity and capacity on the Cal Poly and CR side, just now finding ways where it can work more robustly for the high schools.
Wow, this is so cool. What a great program for our local youth. All right, so now the important part, Jim. How can interested students and teachers get involved?
Very best way for a high school to get involved is to, if they know they have a group of students interested in a particular major or area of study, whoever it is at that high school can contact me directly through the Humboldt County Office of Ed. Probably the best way is just an email, Nate, jritter@hcoe.org, and we'll put it together. I mean, we are wanting to meet the needs and interests of the schools that we serve. So if a teacher or a counselor or another adult had interest, that's what I would work to do.
Awesome, Jim. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you for all of the work that you do for our local youth. It's really important, and we really appreciate it.
Izzy and Nate, we really appreciate the opportunity, and good luck with this community radio talk show. I'm a big fan of that. It's important for our community, and Thanks for having me.
Right on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim.
That was Jim Ritter from the Humboldt Office of Education College Connect program. If you are a high school student or know one that is thinking about going into higher education, Cal Poly Humboldt or CR, hit Jim Ritter up, jritter@hcoe.org, and he will connect you with that program.
This is the Redwoods Community Report on 96.7 FM Eureka, community radio from Access Humboldt.
That's right, and we are live, and this is your radio program, the Redwoods Community Report. We need your help. We would like your help. We would like to hear from you. Give us an email. Come on the radio program. Help us out. Interview somebody. Read a PSA. Whatever. Get involved. Get involved. redwoodsreport@gmail.com. All right, now we have some PSAs, some public service announcements. If you have a public service announcement that you would like read on this program, again, email us, redwoodsreport@gmail.com. First off.
Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. Should I go?
Oh, yeah, you go. You go.
Okay, cool. Sorry, Nate.
No worries.
Find a Painted Rock. North Coast Children's Services programs are recruiting for enrollment. We will be placing painted rocks in communities throughout Humboldt and Del Norte counties. On the week of April 4th, find a painted rock and call the number on the back. You will be entered to win a gas card. North Coast Children's Services provides early education and family support to children and families from pregnancy to age 5. They offer home visiting, toddler and preschool centers in a variety of locations. Find them on Facebook or call 1-800-808-7206.
That's so cool. Last week we had the whole finding a marble, the marble hunt, right? And now we have the painted rock hunt. That's so cool. All right, let's see. Next PSA: Humboldt Allies for Substance Abuse Prevention, a community coalition, will meet Wednesday, April 6th from 3:30 to 5 p.m. via Zoom. The coalition supports alcohol and other drug prevention activities throughout Humboldt County. Community members are welcome. April's coalition meeting will feature updates about the coalition's policy work on a social host ordinance in the city of Arcata and a countywide tobacco retail license, as well as a special presentation from communities addressing nicotine. The coalition will continue rebranding activities started at the February meeting. Humboldt ASAP has been building safe and healthy communities in Humboldt County since 2002. You can learn more at facebook.com/HumboldtASAP, or for more information, call the Substance Use Prevention Program at 707-296-8312 or email publichealthaod.co.humboldt.ca.us. Oh, it's me. Next up, we have Cristin Kenyon, the City of Eureka's Development Services Principal Planner, joined our man David Frank to discuss the Gulches and Greenways project.
Oh, this is David Frank with the Redwoods Community Report, and I'm speaking today with Cristin Kenyon, Principal Planner at the City of Eureka Development Services Department. Hey, Cristin.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you are most welcome. We really appreciate you being here today. Tell us about the exciting project you are working on. It looks like it is called Gulches and Greenways Planning Effort. Can you tell us a little bit about what this project is all about, and what are the Gulches and Greenways at the heart of this effort?
Sure. So gulches are valleys or ravines within the city that vary in size and topography and contain water courses. And the greenways are the vegetated areas within and adjacent to the gulches. And if you look at an aerial image of the city, you see our street grid, and then you see these fingers of vegetation that cross and disrupt that grid, and those are our gulches and greenways. There's a big system of them south of Harris Street that we call the Gulches of Martin Slough because they drain to Martin Slough, and then Elk River in the bay. And then we have two at the northern end of the city, Cooper Gulch, which drains to First Slough, and Second Gulch or McFarland Gulch that drains to Second Slough. There's also Myrtletown Gulch, but that's outside of city limits, so it won't be affected by this planning effort. And basically what we're trying to do is our general plan, which is our guiding document, includes a policy calling for us to adopt preservation and management standards for gulches and greenways to ensure appropriate use and protection of them. And so that's what we're setting out to do.
Excellent. So now we know the lay of the land, what we're talking about, the actual green spaces that we're talking about. Can you tell us why there is such a plan to protect these spaces and why their preservation is important to our community?
Sure, yeah, they're really important. They provide drainage, flood capacity for our city. They also retain and filter and infiltrate stormwater runoff, which is important for the health of our bay. And they provide fish and wildlife habitat, and they're important corridors for wildlife to move through the city. They also are an opportunity for public trails and recreation. They contribute to Eureka's unique identity and sense of place, and they give us a sense of nature in the city, which is important for our mental health, especially for kids and older folks and less mobile folks that maybe don't get out of the city a lot. And when you have healthy gulches and greenways, they're really good for quality of life and property values.
Excellent. So now we know what they are and how important they are. You said that there's this effort to kind of, I guess, dial in the regulations. What's the governing body that maintains and regulates these areas here in the city of Eureka?
Yeah, so the city is in charge of land use and development within the city. We do have standards in our coastal zone already. So this effort's focused on the inland areas of the city. The county of Humboldt has a streamside management area ordinance for the protection of streams and riparian habitat in the county, but that's only applies in the unincorporated county. It doesn't apply in the city of Eureka. So we currently don't have local regulations outside of our coastal zone that address wetlands, streams, riparian habitat, and avoiding too much development on steep slopes. So there's other state and federal agencies that regulate wetlands, fill or release of material into wetlands, impacts to listed species, and altering a stream bed bank or channel. But there's not a state or federal agency that really looks at development on steep slopes or fully protects all riparian habitat. So there's room for local regulation.
Gotcha. And so many of the elements that you just described, I noticed were questions or options, features of a survey that I saw on the city website. Can you tell us a little bit about the input, the types of input you're seeking from the community, and include that survey and what we're looking to accomplish here?
Yeah, thanks. We have a survey online that we welcome anybody to take. If you Google City of Eureka Gulches and Greenways, it should be at the top of your search results. And we're asking the community for help about what's most important to them about the Gulches and Greenways, so that we can create purpose statements that drive the rest of our standards, and then also helping us define the outer boundaries of the area to be protected, and what uses might be appropriate in the area, and what uses might not be, and how do we incentivize ideas for incentivizing better stewardship, because about 75 to 80% of the land in our Gulches and Greenways are privately owned in residential zoning. So we need to work with property owners to figure out ways to prevent further fragmentation and degradation of our gulches and greenways.
Fantastic. That makes total sense. For folks who are listening out there, how can the community get more involved in these efforts?
Yes, so take that survey we mentioned, come to our public workshop, March 29th, 5:30 p.m. via Zoom. You need to register in advance. So again, if you just search for City of Eureka Gulches and Greenways, you should be able to find that information and get on our mailing list. Also, I recommend everybody check out empowereureka.org, which is a place where you can sign up to volunteer to remove trash or invasives. You could also even host events, and the city will provide supplies for you to do that kind of work. So,
well, thanks so much. Our time, it looks like that's all the time we have left today. I've been speaking with Cristin Kenyon, Principal Planner, City of Eureka Development Services Department. Cristin, thanks again so much for talking with us, and I really look forward to speaking with you again to hear about ongoing developments on this project.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Dave and Cristin. Again, the virtual public workshop will take place on Tuesday, March 29th at 5:30 p.m. You can find more information and take the survey by going to the Eureka Community Services Facebook page.
And it is now time for the Coach's Cut with Aaron Donaldson.
One of my favorite things about working at a college is that I get to meet amazing people who share things that make them think. In 2020, one of the members of my debate team, Devin, gave me a book by Judith Butler called The Force of Nonviolence. Devin and I had spent years together talking critical theory, Butler's and beyond, so he knew what few others did that I would be pumped to see that Judith Butler had just written a book on nonviolence. I had somehow missed it. Not so spry in my cutting these days, it seems. Anyhow, it's a challenging, motivating, and unconventional take on violence, which, as always, is packed with meaningful prose. At the onset, Butler critiques the instrumentalist approach to violence, asking very basic questions we've all heard before in a way that suggests the failing of the logic. Part of Coach's Cuts was supposed to be me sharing things that make me think with you, so here is part of her critique of rational violence that makes me think about how I rationalize my own violent tendencies. She writes, "The instrumentalist defense of violence depends, quite crucially, on being able to show that violence can be restricted to the status of a tool, a means, without becoming an end itself. The use of a tool to realize such purposes presupposes that the tool is guided by a clear intention and remains so guided throughout the course of the action. It also depends on knowing when the course of a violent action will come to an end. What happens if violence gets out of hand? If it is used for purposes for which it was never intended, exceeding and defying its governing intention? What if violence is precisely the kind of phenomenon that is constantly getting out of hand? What if the use of violence as a mean to achieve a goal licenses implicitly or effectively the use of violence more broadly, thereby bringing more violence into the world? How does violence work then?" This has been Coach's Cuts for Thursday, March 23rd, 2022. If you have arguments that make you think, you can email them to ad2702@humboldt.edu. That's ad2702@humboldt.edu.
A special thanks to our sponsors, the Humboldt Area Foundation and Access Humboldt.
And Dave.
And just a reminder, we are always looking for more help from the community. We offer this radio platform to you to help restart the on-air community dialogue.
To share your voice, your concerns, your stories with our community, please send your story submissions to us by emailing redwoodsreport@gmail.com. That's Redwoods with an S. redwoodsreport@gmail.com.
redwoodsreport@gmail.com.
This has been
The Redwoods Community Report.
a new locally focused news magazine radio program that showcases local issues through a collection of articles, opinions, and stories created by local journalists, community citizens, and media partners.
I'm Izzy.
And I'm Nate. Thank you for listening. You clever.